My name is Mark, and I am married to the most beautiful woman in the world. Inside and out, Agatha is amazing. She's kind, thoughtful, smart, gentle, and so forgiving. So, even when my parents treated her like she was dirt, she always made excuses for them and let it slide. See, my parents are paranoid. They came into a significant amount of money when they were young. They ran a successful computer business and sold the rights to a bunch of software they developed together. So, the money and lack of social interaction during their formative years made them suspicious of everyone. Agatha took it all in stride. She was the one who pointed out that they had a reason to be suspicious.
Your parents are just looking out for you. There are a lot of selfish people in the world who don't care about how you feel, only about what you have to offer them. And coming from where I came from, that would have only compounded their worry. So don't worry about it, okay? I love you and you love me, and that's all that's important.
She was just too nice. I tried talking to my parents about their attitude, begged them to reconsider their opinion on her. But they were stubborn. They refused to change, and I spent the evening after every time we met up apologizing. Agatha would just laugh it off. That changed.
I just don't know what you think you're up to, suggesting you move into a bigger house. Of course you just want to take full advantage of his money. I knew it from the beginning. I've been telling him this. But did he listen?
We were sitting at a table in a nice restaurant. I had wanted to tell my parents about our big news. We were moving house, but they had taken over the conversation with their snapped accusations and hard tones. We should never let someone like you marry our son. You've got confident with your attempts at taking over his money, and now you've shown your hands. Growing up poor like you doesn't excuse this kind of behavior, you filthy gold digger. Don't speak to her like that. Moving house was my idea. Agatha told me she was perfectly happy living where we were. The damage was done, though, because Agatha was crying, and had already left the table. I knew then that my parents had crossed a line. She liked them, in spite of their attitude towards her. They'd worked hard. And she said that she could tell the kind of people they were by the son they'd raised. But that evening, she'd found their words to be too much, and finally called them out for what they were. She came back before the end of the meal, paid the bill for everyone, and then turned to my parents.
I have been supportive of your attitudes for too long. I understood where your concern for your son stemmed from, and I never said a bad word against either of you. I respected you, your drive, and how you raised your son. But tonight we wanted to tell you that we were expecting a child, and that we were moving into a bigger house to prepare for that, but you let your prejudices get in the way. I've never expected Mark to pay for me. I've always provided half the rent and paid half the bills. I work a good job and work hard too. If you'd ever bothered to ask, you'd know that I never took advantage of his money. If you want a relationship with your grandchild, you'll want to reevaluate how you treat people, because no child of mine will be around this kind of behavior. Do you understand?
I was proud of Agatha for standing up for herself like that, but angry that my parents had ruined what was supposed to be an exciting evening. But the looks of horror on their faces was enough. They had been humiliated. And worst, they'd accused Agatha of being a gold digger, only to have their meals paid for out of her own pocket. Later that night, after we'd already been tucked up in bed and spent an hour talking about how she felt, I got a phone call. Hello? Is this Mark Thompson? I'm Dr. Clark. There was an accident. You need to come down to the hospital right away. What happened? Your parents' car was T-boned. They're in critical condition. We rushed to the hospital as fast as we could. The nurse directed us toward the room where my parents were. When we entered, I found that my mom was awake, but my dad was unconscious. They were both banged up. Agatha waited by the door. Mom, what happened?
We were driving, and then this car just T-boned us. They'd not stopped for the red light, I guess, because it was so late. But they're saying he ruptured a kidney. They don't think he's going to make it.
Agatha had disappeared by the time I turned back around. I wasn't sure if she was still too angry to be around my parents, or if she had gone to find coffee. Either way, I felt her absence keenly, and wished she was back at my side. I fell asleep before she returned, and when I woke up, she was waiting for me.
I spoke to the doctors about your dad's kidney, and we ran some tests. I'm a match.
What?
Your father needs a new kidney, Mark, and I am going to give him mine. And what do you expect to get in return for that? Nothing. If you never say a kind word to me, then it will still be worth it. I'm not saving his life for anything other than saving his life. Mark deserves to have his parents around. I'm sure you can understand that this doesn't benefit me at all.
But what about the baby?
The doctors promised me that it would be a safe procedure. They would do everything in their power to ensure that we both come out the other end in one piece.
The surgery went well, and when my father woke up, the doctors explained what had happened. He asked to speak to Agatha alone, and I waited anxiously to see if she was going to come out of the room regretting her choice. When she finally came out, I nearly fainted with anxiety. "Are you all right?"
I'm fine. He's fine too. The transplant is taking, just as the doctors hoped, and your father is grateful. He offered me a tidy sum of money for my efforts, but I think he finally understood that I wasn't in this for the money. He decided to put it in a college fund for our child instead.
Mom seems to have come around too, and I think she wants to apologize.
She doesn't need to.
She does. The times when my parents were mean and rude to Agatha were a thing of the past. They finally saw her for her, rather than an image they had built up in their heads. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.